Welcome to another TechHelp video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Today we're going to talk about when even using another query fails with complex criteria or calculations. What does that all mean? Well, in yesterday's video, we talked about how if you've got a single query that's too complex, and you try to put criteria in it or a really complicated expression and it throws up a parameter value and you're not expecting it or some kind of an error message, you might just get away with making a second query, feeding the data from the first query into the second query, and you can apply your criteria in the second query. And that makes perfect sense, right? Well, it doesn't always work. And sometimes, depending on the first query, the second query still might not work. And I'm going to show you how to get around one specific problem that I came across. In fact, this is something that I don't think Access should work this way, but it does. In fact, Sammy, you might want to put this on our list. We've got a list going for the Microsoft team. If I ever get in touch with one of them, here's a list of stuff that either needs to be fixed or we don't like. But let's walk through an example, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about, and I'll show you how to fix this particular problem. And I guess one of the things I'm trying to get across is when building software and working with Access specifically, there's always multiple ways to attack a problem, and so thinking about other ways to do stuff will sometimes be very helpful. Now, yesterday was for the beginners. This is what I consider an expert level class, which means it's a little more complex than beginners are used to, but it's not quite developer level. That's VBA programming and such. Although, if you're good little boys and girls, at the end of the video, I'm going to sneak a little VBA in just to show you how to do something a little faster. But let's take a look at the problem. Before we get started, some prerequisites for you. Of course, go watch yesterday's video first to understand what I'm talking about there with using a second query. Today's example is going to require some date calculations, so make sure you understand the year, month, and day functions. We're going to use those to take apart a date into its constituent components. We're going to use date serial to put them back together again. Make sure you understand null values and is not null. These are all free videos. They're on my YouTube channel. They're on my website. Go watch those and then come on back. Okay, so here I am in my TechHelp free template. This is a free database you can download off my website if you want to. And in this database, I've got a list of customers. Now, my goal for this video is to construct a query showing all the customers whose birthdays have not yet passed this year. Okay? Now, yes, I know there are a million different ways you can calculate this. In fact, I've got other videos showing how to do this. But I'm going to show a specific method in this class that a lot of people will use, and it causes the problem that we're talking about. Okay? It was hard to come up with a good example for this because it's kind of rare, but it does happen. All right, now in this customer table, I've got a field called customer sense. We're just going to use that as the date of birth. I don't feel like typing in a whole new field. Okay? So let's go to create. We're going to first create a query design. We're going to bring in the customer data. Now for this, I just need the customer ID, and I'm going to bring in the customer sense field, but I'm going to rename it date of birth. So DOB : like that. That's called an alias. Okay, here I'll zoom in so you can see it better. Alias. And I got a video on aliasing too. I'll put a link to it down below. It's just assigning that a different name. So now if I run this, all right, there we go. We get all those dates of birth. Now, and this is where the problem creeps in. Okay, pay attention to what I'm doing right now. Notice there are some people in here that don't have dates of birth. If you look right in the customer table, down at the bottom, all of my Lord of the Rings guys, right? Frodo, Gandalf, Legolas, and Peregrine, come over here. There's no dates of birth on them because it was a different age. I don't have dates of birth. I'm sure knowing Tolkien, he's probably got dates of birth for all of them in the books somewhere. I haven't read them since high school. But anyways, so what we're going to do is, and you'd think this would be enough, I'm going to go into this query and I'm going to say for date of birth is not null. Is not null. Okay, now if I run the query, I get all dates of birth. And you'd think everything at this point is fine, right? Okay, so let's finish this up. I want to break this date of birth down into its components. I need the day and the month, and then I'm going to add to it the current year, and that will give me their birthday this year. I can then figure out if their birthday has passed or not, right? So month is easy. It's going to be M is going to be the month, month of DOB, right? And if I run that now, that works fine. I got their month. There's their month. Okay. The day D is going to be the day of DOB. All right. Looking good so far. Okay. Now for this year's birthday, the year is going to be the year of today's date. So the year of date, right? That should be 2024 for everybody. Okay. So now I can use date serial and put that back together into a valid date, right? I'll zoom in so you can see this one better. Okay, birthday this year is going to be date serial, and it's year, month, day. So year, month, day, right? And everything looks good so far, right? I got beautiful. Everything's perfect so far. All right, let's save this. I'm just going to call this my birthday queue. Birthday queue. All right. Now, if I want a list of people who have not yet had their birthdays yet, let's say I want to send them a card to come into my restaurant for a free sundae, whatever. Okay. So I should just be able to put some simple criteria in here now, right? And I should just be able to say right here, this is greater than today's date, right? And if I run it, I get, okay, enter parameter value. Okay, this is the problem we ran into in the last video where it doesn't know what all these values are yet. So maybe I got to throw this into a second query. So let's get that criteria out of there. Save that. Let's make another query. We'll call it birthday 2. All right, create query. We're going to pull in query 1, right? And here I just want the customer ID so I know who it is and their birthday this year. Let's see, make sure that's working. Okay, all right. And now on here, let's put in our criteria. Greater than date, like that. And then I'll run it and data type mismatch in criteria expression. What is going on here? What's going on? Data type criteria mismatch. What? Well, it's basically saying you're trying to compare apples and oranges, but no, I'm comparing apples and apples. Birthday this year is a date value. Look at, open this up. That's a date. It lines up on the right side. If I tested this, if you add 1 to it, you get the next day. This is a valid date. And we shouldn't have any null values in here, right? I got is not null there. Okay? But somehow, if you come through to here and you put that criteria on there, it's data type mismatch. And the reason is, the problem is because of our null values in the table. Okay? These guys down here are causing the problem. And I know that for a fact because if I delete these null values and I run the query now, it works. And these are all the people with birthdays after today's date. Today is June 6th as I'm recording this. It's June 6th of 2024. So these are all valid birth dates. The problem is that is not null from this query is not properly removing all the data. And if you've got a query where a query before it has invalid data in it, it still doesn't work. And this is something I think that the guys at Access should fix. The guys on the Access team at Microsoft. Fix that. If this query removes the null values, then anybody based on that query should not have to deal with those null values. It's a pain. I've run into this several times in my 30-year Access career. Now, how do we fix it? Well, the way we fix it is get the criteria out of here. And just for the sake of class, I'm going to put those invalid people back in here. All right, so we got Frodo, we got Sam, we got Mary, we got, I don't know, whoever else. Okay, so if you look at the data now, those null values are back. Okay, all right. How do we fix this? Well, we can't work with this as a select query. So we're going to have to use something called a make table query. We're going to make this guy create a temporary table, and that temporary table will not have the null values in it. Okay? Now, I don't have a simple TechHelp video on make table queries. I know I've covered it in a couple of other videos. I've got a make table video coming up, so maybe by the time you're watching this, it might be on my site. Just go to my website, search for make table queries. They're not that hard. Essentially, we're just taking the output of this table and creating a new table out of it. Or, excuse me, the output of this query and making a table out of it. So you go up here. Make sure the select query you got works. All right, that looks like the data that I want. Okay. Now, in here, we're going to go to the query type and make table. It's going to ask you what do you want to call it. Okay, we're going to just call it the birthday T. Or if you want to keep it consistent, customer birthday T. I have to keep all my customer data starting with customer. Okay. All right, hit OK. And now, when you run this, it's going to create a customer birthday T. You might get some warning prompts up. It's going to say, hey, this is going to create a new table, blah, blah, blah. I got those warnings turned off on my system. Okay, and I cover that in my action queries video, and I'll put a link to this down below. And you can save this guy as the, let's just call it the customer birthday make queue. Every time you want to run this now, you'll just run this make table query. It'll create the customer birthday T. Okay, and now the customer birthday T has the data in it that you want. Okay. And now you should be able to make a query on this data showing you what you're looking for. So, create, query design, bring in the customer birthday table, and you can link to it to the customer table if you want their other information. But I'll just bring in this stuff here. And this will say should be greater than or equal to today's date, or greater than today's date, run it, and there you go. All right, you can put the criteria in this because this table has no null values in it. Okay, so save this one now as your birthday, or let's call it customer birthday. I can't spell today. Q. Okay, so in a nutshell, we got this birthday queue that does all the work for us. It breaks it down, gives us the birthday this year. Okay, that then feeds this customer birthday make queue where it makes the birthday this year table. Okay, and then that gives you this, which you can then put a criteria on that in this query here. Now, if all of this seems a little confusing, yeah, it is. It's one of those things we got to do a workaround because the queries just don't work the way you'd think they'd work. Okay, and now here's where the bonus material comes in. If you want a little bit of VBA code to make this easier, you can run this make table query and then open up this query in one click. Okay? Now, if you're new to VBA, go watch this first. It'll get you started. It's about 20 minutes long. It'll teach you whatever you need to know to get going. Okay? And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take over this Hello World button here, right? Let's say birthdays this year. Okay? Little things like this drive me nuts. Okay, there we go. All right, right-click Build Event. It'll bring up your VBA code editor. Okay, now we don't need to status hello world in here. What we're going to do is we're going to first run the make table query, which is this guy. Let me see its full name here. Customer birthday make queue. All right, so it's going to be this easy. Do command.open query customer birthday make queue. That's going to create the customer birthday T. Okay, now we'll say do command.open query. Which one is the customer birthday queue? That's our query down here that puts the criteria on for this guy. And now we should get our list of birthdays. All right, so if I click on the button, all right, the existing table is going to be deleted before you run the query. Yeah, okay. And there you go. See? There's all your proper people after June 6th. And whenever you run this, it's going to bring up this list of people. Okay? And if you want to turn that warning message off, you can come in here and say do command.set warnings false. Don't forget to turn them back on, though. Do command.set warnings true. Okay? Now, click the button, and you go right to your query there. And every time you run this, it comes back up with the right list of data. And if you want to see who all these people are, you can take this query and you can join in here. We'll add tables, the customer table. All right. So we can bring back in whatever other details we want. Like you want their first name and last name, let's say, and their address. So you can send them a birthday card, whatever. All right. If I run this now, you'll get all their information. In fact, this is another tip for when you're making these complicated queries. The stuff that has the calculations in it, right? This guy, okay, this guy, all these other queries, get rid of all that extraneous data. Only bring into this query exactly what you need. You'll need the ID, so later on you can go back and figure out who it was. But for this query, all we need is the date of birth. We're figuring out the month, day, year, birthday this year. We don't need all the rest of these fields. We don't need email, address, state, country, all that stuff. Forget about it. Forget about it, right? Okay? Then we can do this and all the other steps in the middle. Then when we're done and we've got our nice list of ID and birthday this year, then we can rejoin it to the original customer table and add that stuff back in. Okay, so that's another important step. There's a lot of good tips in this video today. Okay, there's a little tiny VBA for you. So don't say I never gave you nothing. All right, so that's just one example of when a complicated query fails, even if you try to make it into a multi-step query. Sometimes you just got to resort to making temporary tables. I've had to do it a lot. If you've got a better solution for this, I want to hear about it. Post a comment down below. Yeah, I know there's more advanced techniques you can use with subqueries and all kinds of other stuff, but this is, I think, the easiest method for most people to get. Also, if you want to learn more about these action queries, they're extremely powerful. There's update queries, append queries, adding records, make table queries, all kinds of stuff. I've got 5 whole lessons on them. Each one's over an hour long. In the middle of my expert series, check them out. I'll put a link down below. But folks, that is going to be your Tech Help video for today. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. And you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free Tech Help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing, free, 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my Tech Help page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the Tech Help page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut TechHelp videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my TechHelp videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any TechHelp questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for TechHelp questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.